I want to talk a little bit more about your song "Won't Take Long," man. What was the inspiration behind that, and did it take
Yeah.
you a long time to write that and come up with it, and what's
No, so,
next?
so that's one of the songs on the record. So I have 14 songs on the record. I co-wrote four. I co-wrote four songs on the record. This one was written by a guy named Will Hogue, who's
Okay,
from Nashville. He's from Franklin, Tennessee, actually, and he wrote that song. Like he wrote a few different songs for some country bands and stuff like that. But I've known him. I've known him forever. I've known him since I was like 15 years old. I guess I'd met him when he was playing music down here in New Orleans, and he was like my first phone call when I wanted to, go make a record. I called a friend of mine, Mark Broussard, who's a singer down in Lafayette, who I think Brock, and I was like, hey, I need to come up with some really great country songs. I need someone to co-write with and someone to give me some stuff that they've already written. And he gave me Will Hogue's number. I called Will and gave him the spiel. I was like, listen, if you can give me some songs, I can get these things on the radio. I can get a record deal and it's going to work. I had no fucking idea what I was talking about. He's like, okay. He's like, all right. He probably thought I was nuts. And then he ended up sending me, I was actually at Yellowstone Club, at y'all's place, Yellowstone Club, like a year and a half ago. And he had sent me over these like 10 songs or something like that I just loved, some demos. And, I ended up just like working on that. When I got home, I ended up just working on these demos at this bar called Tipitina's in New Orleans, and worked out the choruses, changed a lot of stuff up. And the next call was essentially to Steve Jordan, who plays drums for the Rolling Stones now, and he's producing their next record. He produced like John Mayer's stuff,
Oh wow.
Sheryl Crow and stuff like that. He's a phenomenal drummer, one of my favorites, and an amazing producer. And so we just had some conversation over the course of like 4 or 5 months about what we're going to do with the record. I had never sang before. And so at the end of the day, I was like, I had to learn how to sing. I was like, I could either bring someone to sing for me, but what's the fun in that?
yeah, yeah,
So we spent a lot of time just talking about what the record was going to sound like and creating a sound before we actually went in the studio to cut it. And, the goal was to essentially take these demos, write some, but also take some of the demos that I had from my pal Will Hogue and really create a real rock record like Petty did with his first record. I don't know if it was Damn Torpedoes, whatever one the Petty record was first, but I was really loving that at the time. And so I think like we just set out to create a sound that, that didn't sound like anything today. And I think we kind of ended up through the process of the last year and a half, like creating this sound that kind of sounds like Mellencamp and Petty and, those guys, like what was great about country in the 80s and 90s and stuff. And so, so I ended up signing a deal with Sony Nashville, and, Won't Take Long is the first single. It came out this past Friday.
yeah, man. I probably listened to it 10, 20 times a day, every day since, dude. Honestly,
I literally find myself on like these like Spotify. It's like I feel the same way when I release a movie. Like that opening weekend that I did when I released the song, I was like sitting there watching the numbers, like how many people are listening to it on Spotify and Amazon and Apple Music and stuff. And you could see that stuff in real time now, like who's like listening to the song.
that's
And
awesome.
I had like the same amount of anxiety as I do on the movie side. When the movie, I'm like, shit. I was like, I thought I wouldn't care as much.
Oh, that's so funny, dude.
You must find like when you're the one kind of singing and playing guitar that there is this kind of extra level of vulnerability as an artist and a creator, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like, when we'd get a shit review on a movie, it would be like, when Rolling Stone would say Pride, Prejudice, and Zombie gets, 0.5 stars, I'd be like, at least try. But like if someone gave me a 0.5 star on the song, I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't know if I'd leave the house for 2 weeks.
It's another reason to punch somebody in the face, man.
Exactly.
Oh man, so 14 songs. Do you know when you're going to release the new ones? The rest of the album.
The next song on the record is going to come out in the next 30 days. So we're going to let Won't Take Long kind of do its thing. We're on some good playlists on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple right now. And the plan is to kind of like organically, I guess, grow the foundation. I mean, like I literally have I've got like 1,400 Instagram followers. It's like basically like my mom, my grandma, and a couple of my buddies from like Houma, Louisiana. And like, so whenever we turned the lights on this music thing, no one knew that I was a musician, obviously. And I wasn't an overwhelmingly like, celebrity-ish like producer on the film side. I kind of kept my head down, just went to work. And so like when we turned the lights on this, it was like people were like, wait a minute, he plays music, and so it's like I'm still building that foundation. And I think organically over the next 6 to 8 months before we release the record, we're going to play some shows maybe with the Wallflowers, who we're talking to right now.
Wow.
Yes, we want to do some stuff later this fall, some festivals next year, and just kind of grow the cause, I guess, if you will, and try and just, get out there as much as possible, do things like this with pals of mine, like you guys, keep going with it.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video.
And subscribe and hit the bell for a whole lot more to come.
Thanks for tuning in to Studio 22.